Welcome everybody to Barrio Voices. I'm really grateful to have one of my friends, my dearest neighbors, and folk that I've grown into the creative space with, Raul Ceja. He's been a great friend that has been modeling what it means to be a creative here in California, and the way that goes to share the impact that others have within our community, and how we continue to uplift many folks, loved ones, and other creators that deserve the platform, similar to Barrio Voices and other platforms where people could be again uplifted and showcase, and folks reminded of the voice and the power they carry. Raul Ceja has been a great friend of mine, like I mentioned, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to interview him. One of the first memories that I had with you is you were trying to connect me with Benito Link, another folk that continues to uplift many of our stories. And I was grateful for the opportunity, and I remember that instance because even then, many years ago, he was already trying to support me in my own journey. So I'm really grateful and honored to be able to support you, and not even support you, celebrate you, if anything, and the impact that you've had on me and many other folks around the region. But I did want to give an opportunity for you to also share a little bit about yourself, some of the things that led you to being the person that you are today, and anything else you want to elaborate regarding like yourself and what does it mean to be you in today's world.
Yeah, well, thank you, Arturo. I'm very happy to be here with you, and I'm also here to celebrate you because you are just a remarkable person to know, and also your wife as well. You two have been very kind friends to me, and it's really nice to just have that level of support with you and your family too. I've been lucky enough to meet your family as well. But yeah, a little bit about me is that I am a full-blown creative now. I work full-time in my creative studio and have a marketing background. Then I learned how to pick up the camera and do photography, videography after returning to school to learn about graphic design. And I'm born and raised in Hollister, and I come from immigrant parents. And so a little bit about my journey from high school to college is that I never intended to go to college. It was only the day after I graduated high school that I realized education was important. And it took me a long time to go to community college, then transfer to university, and then land a marketing job many years after I had graduated. And so, here I am, gone through the ringer of things with anxiety, stress, mental health, and now on the other side, still trying to manage all of that and get paid while creating stories and connecting with people.
Now, that's something I appreciate about you too, is that you're always so true to your element of like storytelling, being who you are. And I know you mentioned right now that you didn't think about going to college until you graduated. And I think oftentimes when I think about you is that you're always following your heart and then your own intuition when it comes down to your own journey. And I'm really grateful for that too, because even when we chat, I feel like you're a mentor to me, and you to remind me to follow my own heart and my own path. And so I've seen you doing that, and I've seen you continue to elevate the work that you do through your own passions. And I would love for folks to hear a little bit about like your own passions, your own work. How did you discover that, and how did that unfold throughout the years?
Yeah, well, first of all, I didn't know that I was a creative until these last recent years, and that was because I got encouraged to start creating for myself through photography, videography. But I wish I would have known at a much younger age that this is how my mind works, this is who I am, and if I don't put that first, then I am a mess to everybody, including myself, and it's really unfair to be that way with people and with myself as well. So the way that I had learned that I was a creative was, yes, after college, I did what I was supposed to do. I found myself having these panic attacks and having stress over work because I wasn't fully expressing myself. I was meeting the needs of doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, but at the same time, I was miserable inside. And so because of the pandemic and because at the time we were isolated, I started picking up the camera and telling the stories through my lived experience. And so just recording my parents, my family, and going through some of those VHS tapes and converting them into digital format, I realized like, oh, there's something very nostalgic that I love about storytelling, and a big part of that is given an opportunity to honor yourself. And so it is very brutal to hear your own voice and to edit yourself on video, because you're like, how does anybody ever talk to me, because I look very, very ugly and gross, and I sound horrible. But it is something that most creatives have to overcome, and it's still not easy, but you get through it. And the idea here is that telling your story from a place of reflection gets you to connect with a lot of people, like-minded people, and you get to help them be seen as well.
And I think you're an incredible voice, an incredible individual. That when I ever see your posts or your stories or even the little snippets of like guys for creators, I love them. I love them. So I know that I imagine even for myself being on camera, it feels a little odd, but you know, I see you excelling in that area. So yeah, I'm glad that you have gotten comfortable with, you know, sharing your own voice, sharing your own stories, and allow that to shine, and throughout that journey, allowing others to shine with you. So it's always a pleasure to see that work being done. And in that too, I think an element of that is being in community, and the way that community has continued to see the value that you're bringing, see how amazing you are, and you reciprocating that kind of energy. Just wondering, how has that been for you? Has that been an easy journey? How did you discover that community for yourself? Any piece of the journey that you think would be great to highlight?
Yeah, that happened by accident, and that's been so healing for me. I would, as people started to come out of the pandemic, there would be more and more community events, and I would go around and photograph friends, families, loved ones that I knew, or organizations that I align with, and started creating these videos as well. And out of that came a good friend of mine named Martha Nino, and she was releasing her first published book, and she ended up hiring me for that job. And that was the first time that I got paid for video editing the way that I do. And for me, it was a big deal because she wholeheartedly believed in something I haven't even created for her. And she said, yeah, I want you and only you to work with me, and we'll make this party come alive, and we'll get to keep it and remember it for forever, essentially. So yeah, it's been such a healing process, because the way that I get paid is through genuine and authentic relationships, and that's so beautiful to me. Today I signed a check that was 12,000, and I'm like, I still can't believe people paid me for this. Like, this is crazy. But on top of that, like, I know networking is really hard for me because I'm an introvert, but there's a lot of benefit in not just connecting with everybody or being the loudest in the room, but also establishing that deep connection with one person. One person can carry you a long, long way. And also, it's not a handout. It's also you proving yourself that you are capable. And for me, when I look at my body of work, it really does come into storytelling, and it being a reflection of what I see through my own perspective. Yeah.
And then one thing that I've known you for is the intentional friendships that you do invest in and do carry. And I imagine that also requires a lot of energy. And I don't know about you, but I'm also an introvert, and that requires some, you know, self-care sometimes, and take care of my own, staying grounded, staying rooted, and being able to take care of myself in the way that I'll allow for myself to show up even better for my own community. I know you've had some tips of how other creators, or the ways that you managed your own well-being, and, you know, being grounded and being as present as you can when you are in community. How has that been for you? What helps you uh, be the best creative you can be, or the best Raul that you can be in your day to day?
Yeah, a lot of that is self-managing myself. I know that sounds a little bit redundant, but if I don't do all these things, then I am not able to show up for others. I'm also not able to build connections, not able to just be who I am without feeling like, oh, I could have, should have said this other perfect thing that would have aligned me to be in this room and would have aligned me to land this contract. If I start thinking that way, then I get to overthink and also just not be as genuine, as authentic as I am when I don't do that stuff. So now what I work on habitually is journaling in the morning, is in running my 5 to 7 miles 3 to 4 times a week, is connecting, having good relationships that are positive and in a safe environment, and also knowing when to step back from everything and saying, okay, I need 2 to 3 days where I just don't do anything. I love being a couch potato. It is like the best job that that I'm really happy to do, but I can't do that all the time. But when I am a full blown couch potato, I love it. I have like Doritos, chocolate. I mix everything, popcorn con Valentina, everything. But I allow myself to just sit with myself and not do anything. The thing that I would say, if others are in similar shoes, is really learning how you work best with yourself. I think that is a very common creative process, and it's something very beautiful.
And I would say, when it comes down to like seeing you build community, I could see how much people value your own friendship. So I met Inika, and the way that her relationship with you, or is shown and displayed, like I really do appreciate that connection that you all do have. You and Tony from Neon Exchange, wonderful connection that you all have, and just folks that I see within the community, you hold a really deep relationship with. So I could see the way that you build community. I could see the rewards that come from that. I would love to get to know a little bit more of like, what does this mean for you? How do you define those relationships? It's beyond networking, it's really relationship building. So what has that meant for you throughout this time, and how do you look forward to cultivating that in the future?
I think for me it looks like I think for me it looks like something that is very genuine to who I am as a person. And a lot of the times now people call and want to collaborate with me just because they enjoy being with me, and they tell me, and that's the first times that anybody has ever told me that in my life recently, is like, you're a joy to be around. And I'm like, what? But part of it is me not seeking anything, especially through any kind of political relationship or monetary relationship. I don't want anything from you. And in fact, if we don't deeply connect with each other, then that's totally fine. But what I'm here to do is to be myself and to talk about some mutual topics that we both enjoy in a very deep way, that resonate with not just us, but our lived experience. I'm not saying that I want to do that with everybody, but if we establish a connection that way, then it's nice to just build on that. Other than that, like, I don't really think too much about relationships or community partnerships. I know, especially in the nonprofit space, that community means something different to everybody. And a lot of the people that think that they're in community are not my people. I don't mess with you. I don't talk to you. I may acknowledge you and say hi, but that's it. That's as far as I go. Having said that, the people that are what I think are real and who I'd love to collaborate with are people that can carry that reflection point and can talk about their lived experience and can have those deep conversations. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people out there like that, and that's why I think what I do is special, and the relationships that I have are really unique to that.
And I feel like it's those relationships that make the work even more meaningful. Those connections that you have, the meaning behind the work and the meaning behind those relationships, just create a moment where you're really enjoying yourself, enjoying the presence of others, and enjoying the work that y'all doing collectively. So I've seen the work before done, and I see how much in your element you are when you are in those kind of spaces. But I wanted to hear a reflection of like what, like if there's a moment where you felt that before, where is a moment where you felt the most sense of belonging ever. You're in your element. You were all working collectively in a project that really meant a lot to you. What would be like an example of that?
I cry all the time while working, but especially when it's like when you're not even searching of like when to cry and how to cry and if it's appropriate, and you think you're a professional, but no, your feelings get you, and you're just in that's the best kind of feeling that I've ever gotten from this kind of work. A specific example is at the procession for last year's La Ofrenda festival. Ruben, who's the director of La Ofrenda, had reached out a couple of days before and said, oh, would you be available to capture photos and videos of the procession? I said, yeah, of course. So I put on my professional hat and worked the room. And the procession means also that they walk around a block and then enter into that same space where the ofrendas are. I didn't attend the previous year, and so I thought I was doing a good job of of capturing candid moments, jumping across the street, and then just showing more of the space of where this is taking place in Gilroy. And then I enter into the room with this line of 100 people, and there are people singing and welcoming that procession. And so I enter into the room. The room had all its lights off, and you see about 20 to 25 ofrendas, and they have all been individually tailored to, and they all have little candle lights, and it looks really beautiful during in the dark. And I realized that the people singing that are leading the ofrenda, they're not just going to stop by one or two of these altares. They're going to stop by every single altar and bless each and every single one of them. And after the fifth one, I realized what was going to happen. And so I had to step back, collect myself, and say, okay, Raul's getting a little bit emotional. I gotta be professional. I ran into my friend Armando. He said, hey man, let's take a photo. I'm like, okay, hold on, just give me a second. I think I'm feeling something. He's like, oh man, were you thinking about someone? I'm like, no, but now I am. And my tears just came, just bursting for 10 minutes, just nonstop. And Armando still stood next to me during all that time. And at the end, he gave me a big hug. He goes, man, you know, these things that we're doing, they're very spiritual, and I understand why you're feeling this way. This is very profound and beautiful. And me with my mocos and my tears everywhere, I said, thank you for understanding and for being just next to me. And so that is a thing that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And it's possible to heal from your work without you even noticing that you're in these kinds of projects. And so that's what creativity has done for me. So I'm really fortunate to be in this space and to heal while I'm working. Yeah.
That's something I didn't reflect on at all leading up to this recording. I didn't realize how much we get to learn from ourselves by following our own passions. And I think just you teaching me that right now is something that even makes me reflect on my own journeys. And so I'm really grateful for this example that you're sharing, because it's not only an example of how the work becomes meaningful because of like the relationships and the work that you have behind that, but also the ways that you go to learn about yourself through all these different projects, through being in community with folks and being part of such meaningful events. Because the Ferranda Festival has become something that is not just a staple, but it's something that people look forward to, and it's for many reasons, such as a spiritual connection, the healing, and also just being in community and grieving together, celebrating lives together. So I'm glad that you got into be part of those events, but ultimately like getting to learn more of about yourself through all these little experiences.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
And I appreciate all those lessons that you've been sharing with us throughout this conversation. I did want to open up the space if there's other lessons or other experiences that you want to share that people could walk away with about being a creative, things that you've learned throughout your own journey, both professional and personal. Just opening up space for any experiences that you also would love to capture in this moment.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Arturo, for creating a space like this. I feel very safe and blessed to be around you, and that you have this sort of platform. It's very much needed for our people. I would say for creatives, I believe that the in-between of an artist and a business person is being a creative, and that's through personal branding. And for me, I didn't realize that I could charge what I'm charging now, and that it's still not the top for me, that I'm still leaving money at the table. But even still, with this idea of value-based pricing, that you could find fulfillment, you could find healing, and you could find financial stability through being a creative. And there's something very, very beautiful to be said about that, because previously, at no other time in history, that was possible. And so if you have a message that you want to uplift, or a specific cause, it's through storytelling in whatever medium that is for you. But yeah, I appreciate other creatives that are out there putting themselves forward, and it's not easy, but I'm right there with you. So yeah, feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you, Raul. Any last words you want to share with the audience? Any last messages?
No, I'm an introvert. I want to go into my shell now.
I appreciate I appreciate just being in space with you, being in community with you. También getting to just touch on really personal points together. And I appreciate always learning from you and all of our conversations. I miss our coffee conversations we used to have, but very much looking forward to just again being in community with you and continuing to grow as individuals.
Yeah. And thank you, Arturo, for all of this. I know this isn't the end, that you'll be continuing to provide these services and this platform. And so yeah, I'm excited to see what the future's in store for you.
Appreciate it, man. Gracias.
Yeah.